Welcome back for another outdoor creation experience. My name is Ryan Lamoureux, and in today's nature video, we're here in the outdoor classroom by the Fair Glen office and the dining hall. And we're gonna look at this nest box on the tree behind me here. We're gonna open it up to see what bird family nested in it last summer, and then we're gonna clean it out and put fresh wood chips inside for the newly arriving spring bird families. The last thing we're gonna do is talk about NestWatch, which is an amazing citizen science opportunity for you and your family to monitor the bird nests around your home and neighborhood, and actually contribute scientific data to the research community. All right, let's get to it. Instead of just telling you what bird species nested in this box last summer, I'm gonna share with you some observations to make in order to identify the species yourself before I give you the answer. At the end of the video, I'll share with you some cool footage I took of the bird family in action when I came to do my NestWatch visits. All right, so observation number one is the nest type. So just like different people have different home preferences, the birds are also slightly picky as to where they live. So the first observation to make is that we're looking for a cavity nesting type bird. So we've basically made a fake hollow tree here for the bird to nest in. We're not looking for a bird that likes to nest on a branch or a bird that likes to nest on the ground. This one is surrounded by some trees with some openings in and around the cabins here in Fair Glen. So once you've narrowed down the nest type, the next thing to look at is the size of the box or the size of the nest. We made this box with a specific species in mind. So I'm gonna measure it just to show you the size. So it's 14 inches tall by 9 inches deep and 9 inches wide. The other thing to measure is actually the opening, because a larger bird can't fit through a smaller opening. So you can exclude or include certain species depending on the size of the hole you build in your nest box. So this opening is 3 inches in diameter for the circle. So the first question to ask yourself is, what size of a bird could fit through the box opening and would need a nest with about that much space to move around in or to sit on the eggs? So the next tools I'm going to use are one, my handy dandy nest remover tool, also known as a barbecue flipper, and this clear plastic bin, which I'm hopefully going to take out as much of the nest as possible and carefully place it in here for better observation. So next, let's open the box to see what nest materials were used inside. So we started this nest off with a base layer of wood chips to simulate a natural tree cavity. On top of that, it looks like this bird used a lot of long, skinny strips of cedar bark, which it would have pulled off some of the trees nearby. There's a few goose feathers mixed in, but not a lot. And the main back corner, where there's a nest cup where the eggs would have sat and the mother bird would have incubated her eggs, is largely made up of animal fur. You can see that circle right here. Move those wood chips out of the way. So this is the animal fur that is used to insulate the nest cup. So that could help us and give us a clue as to what species of animal nested here. Another really cool observation is right here. Hopefully you can see that. That is a grasshopper foot. And it's helpful because it tells us what the mother and father bird were feeding their babies. So maybe they were catching it out of the air or from a field or the golf course nearby. As I dissected the fur-lined nest cup at the back, I found this long, skinny piece of plastic. Now obviously, plastic is not a healthy choice for a bird nest. We don't want them eating it, but some bird species have been known to include snakeskin in their nest materials. So they probably just picked this up by accident, thinking that it was snakeskin. And this last nest material clue should be a really easy giveaway as to what bird species nested here last summer. At this point in the video, while I put fresh wood chips in the box, you can go to the NestWatch website and see if you can use the observations we took to identify what species lived in this box. Then come back and I will show you some footage of the bird family in action. Alright, mission accomplished. This box is now ready for a new family this coming summer. So hopefully that gave you enough time to guess as to what type of bird lived in this box. And now you can enjoy some wildlife footage to see the bird family in action. And the final answer is a great crested flycatcher family. My neighbor and I installed this nest box in early May. About a week later, the adult gray crested flycatchers returned from migration and began scouting out the box. In the following days, a pair had claimed the box and started to add their own nesting materials. In this video, the male stands watch on the roof, while the female goes inside to do some interior decorating of the nest. Back outside the box, the male continues to stand guard, but is suddenly alerted to a Cooper's hawk that flies past through the trees overhead. Luckily, the hawk is occupied elsewhere and doesn't see the flycatcher. Now that the danger has passed, he continues to survey the area around his nest. Unlike other bird species, the male and female great crested flycatcher look similar in color, with a camouflaged olive brown back, a lighter gray throat and chest, along with crisp white lines on their wings. Their tails are rufous brown in color, and they have a beautiful but subtle yellow on their belly that extends under their tails. In this video clip, the male is tilting its head back and forth, trying to figure out what my tripod is doing so close to their nest. To take this footage, I literally set up my camera to start filming, then just walked away. I hid behind the Fair Glen office to watch from a more respectful distance with my binoculars. Their first egg was laid at the beginning of June. Now, come join me for a few virtual NestWatch visits to follow the story of this bird family. And by June 9th, I counted 6 eggs in total. The flycatcher eggs can be identified by the dark brown speckles and streaks on the cream or white colored shell. You can also see some of the goose feathers they have added to the nest materials. You have to keep your visits quick and efficient so as not to disturb the bird family too much. The NestWatch program has very specific protocols to follow to keep the birds safe. During my visit on June 17th, I was able to see all the eggs a bit more clearly, and I also noticed more animal fur and the fake snakeskin that had been added to the nest. Now we just have to wait for them to hatch. 4 days later, on June 21st, a few of the chicks have hatched, starting off their lives blind and naked, with only a bit of fuzz to keep them warm. On closer inspection, I noticed that one of the eggs was just starting to hatch. You can see the small crack on the side here. So I quickly finished the check to let the female get back to her newborns. By June 26th, all the eggs had hatched except for one, and the young had started growing their feathers in preparation for their next stage. During my nest check on July 6th, I observed that the babies had grown their flight feathers and would soon be ready to leave the nest in search of their own food. By July 10th, they had all flown away except for the one unhatched egg. If you are monitoring nests, be prepared to find out that not all of them will survive, but we can still be excited for the ones that did. A couple challenges at camp over recent years are that the European starlings usually arrive back earlier and steal all the prime nesting sites before the great crested flycatchers get a chance to move in. The second challenge for them is that we have to cut down many of the old trees with natural cavities to keep staff and guests safe while at the Fair Glen Outdoor Classroom and to prevent them from falling onto cabins. By installing nest boxes like this one, we can create new habitat for these types of birds to live in. Thanks for joining me on today's outdoor creation experience. I hope you and your family take this opportunity to get involved in the NestWatch program, either monitoring nests around your home or building and installing your very own nest boxes. I would even encourage you as a class to build nest boxes, install them around your yard, and then monitor them as a science research project. Until next time, stay curious about nature, and I look forward to teaching you again in the Fair Glen Outdoor Classroom. This video was created and produced in partnership with Ryan Lamoureux Visual Arts. If you enjoyed this educational video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more educational films like this one. For more information about Fair Glen's day programs, visit discoveroce.com.